it? Yeah. Okay. So our volume should be good.
Yes. Let me see.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, listeners. And we are back after a long break. My sincerest apologies. Of course, duty calls. Good morning to everyone listening. I'm hoping that we have some feedback today on our topic. I'm hoping that everybody's in good health. I know it's flu season. So, persons, if you are not well, please take in the necessary medication, precautions, and all. Okay. So, yes. Good morning to my guest, who's no stranger here, and no stranger to you. I'm going to again allow her to introduce herself. She'll tell us a little more about her and what she has to offer. She has a lot to offer. And then we'll delve into our topic for today. So, good morning and thank you for coming on such short notice. Mrs. James, go ahead.
Thank you very
Introduce
much, Ms. Bojimet. Good morning, St. Lucia. Good morning, Super FM. Good morning, Family Matters. I am Mrs. Sasha Shapir James, and I am here in the capacity of a counseling psychologist. As we observe Children's Mental Health Week, we are going to delve into the theme rather, for this year's Mental Health Week, and I look forward to having a wonderful discussion with not only my host, but you, St. Lucia.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Mr. James, please permit me, before we go into our topic, I recently saw you have a book you just released. Tell us a little more about that.
Okay, thank you. So, as you already know, I authored 2 books prior, but the latest one is called Becoming, a 30-day guided journey to personal mastery. And it is really a book that helps people to become not just a better version of themselves, but God's best version of themselves. And I always like to highlight that, because many times we hear people speaking about, I want to become the best version of myself in my world, which is a merger of the spiritual and the psychological. I believe it's really what God wants us to be. So this book helps you to become God's better version of yourself. And when you do it God's way, it's always a better way.
Always the best way. All right. And how would somebody get that book if they wish to purchase a copy?
Okay, so the book is actually not released yet on Amazon. However, the book was released locally. As you would have known, and maybe some of your listeners are aware, I would have taken part in the Writers in the Spotlight literary book fair that happened about 2 weeks ago at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College Library. So I would have released my 3rd book then. But you can look out for it on Amazon in the next few weeks.
Okay, awesome. And would you say that book is recommended just for parents, or would you say that children can access it as well, especially, say, school leavers, teenagers?
Definitely. One of the things that I've always endeavored to do, even with my first 2 books, is to make it applicable to just about any age. Although I would not necessarily recommend Love Happened to underage children,
Yes.
but the first book told an empowering journey to self-esteem mastery, because of how it was written. Children can also benefit from it, parents, educators even, and so far the reviews have been quite awesome. If you don't believe me, check on Amazon for yourself.
Indeed. Thank you so very much for that, Mrs. James. Okay. So we're discussing this morning our mental health. I'm very happy to hear that it's centered around children's mental health, because most times when mental health comes to mind, persons think of adults. Persons think of, okay, a mental illness. Like when you are to tell somebody, you need to take care of your mental health, sometimes they're inclined to tell you, my fault must have somewhere about. So to them, it's all about that, and only adults they believe that should check on their mental health. But Mrs. James here will tell you opposite to that. So go ahead and
Right.
tell
And you
us
are
from that
correct. And
perspective.
I am really happy that we are engaging in these types of discussions. And you would hear that every time I make an interview or presentation, because we are in a society where sometimes people um sort of undermine and underplay matters pertaining to mental health. And as I would have mentioned before, this week is observed as Children's Mental Health Week. And it is fitting for us to have these types of discussions. The theme for this week, for this week, or rather this year's mental health focus is "This is my place," and this speaks about having a sense of belonging for children, just as us as adults we go through our challenges. And when we speak about mental health, it's really how we think and how we feel, how we manage our emotions. And just by this very basic definition of mental health, anybody can understand that children think, they feel, and they behave in particular ways, and they also need to manage their emotions.
Most definitely. Yes. Because I remembered when we were growing up and our parents, when we were disciplined, and they'll tell you, don't cry, do not cry. So now, my daughter, let me tell you, I have a daughter. She said to me, my second daughter, and she said to me, the same way you feel the need to cry, I feel the need to cry. So
Correct.
then I agreed with her. So I allow her to cry when she needs to.
Of course.
So
And
definitely.
as you should, I like the fact that you use that example, because many times parents believe that, okay, we're the only ones who have the challenges. We're the only ones who, go through the emotions, but children face their challenges. They go to school, they face bullying. They face so many other issues, even interpersonal relationship issues among themselves at school. So they're entitled to feel what they feel. And I encourage parents, even as we speak about, embracing children and caring for their mental health, it's
Yes.
important for us to encourage them to express their emotions. Know that the emotions are valid. You feel, they feel
Feel
as well. And
definitely.
I dare say, maybe sometimes even more than us,
Yes.
because they have so many challenges and
Yes.
so many things
Yes.
that they're dealing with.
Very well said. True. Because I remembered once we had this former guest, we had a discussion where it was mentioned that sometimes when a child comes to a parent, they come home, child will say, I'm going through so much and this and that, and mommy, you don't understand, and so on. I'm stressed out. And of course, I will say, us parents, because it has happened to me, that we will say, you are stressed. Imagine me who have to pay the bills and all. Yes, they don't have to pay the bills and they don't have to wonder where things come from. But at the end of the day, remember these are children who are battling with different hormones
That's right.
and different challenges at school. They finding themselves at this point. So of course, I really like this topic. This is my place. Okay, so let us expand a little more on it. Sorry, before you go
Definitely.
on, I love to shout out my listeners. We have
Sure.
one this morning. Catherine Victorine. Good morning, lovely ladies. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Miss. Thank you for joining us. All right.
Nice. Of course. So as we continue, let us delve into the theme for this year's Children's Mental Health Week. This is my place. So what does this mean? This is my place mean that children belong. They need a sense of community, and it means that they are supposed to be kept safe and secure. It also means that their feelings matter. And we just had a discussion about, sometimes parents don't play the fact that children also experience like various emotions. So this is my place. This thing means that their feelings matter and that they can be themselves wherever it is, at home, at school, in the community, in the church. This is my place. I belong.
Definitely.
I matter. Am supposed to be safe. My feelings matter. So, parents, educators, even as you listen, and some of you may very well log in afterwards, but know that as you deal with children, their feelings matter and they are supposed to feel safe. Many times, Renita, children feel, when they feel unsafe, it creates challenges for them, whether it's at home, at school, and these types of feelings contribute to other more severe mental health challenges. I'd like to ask you, if you don't feel safe, for example, I'm not going to say in the studio, but say you don't feel safe at work, you don't feel safe at home, what would that mean for you? How would that affect you as an adult?
It will be affecting everything. I would not want to go to work. I would not want to stay home. I would want to run away. I would want to act out. Yes, because if I don't feel safe, I will I will keep going to find where safety is,
That's it.
basically. So I am happy that you asked that because sometimes when we see our children act out, we wonder why. And especially that you mentioned home. Home should be somewhere that children feel comfortable and look forward to going to. And sometimes we wonder, even as social workers, we wonder, but you have everything at home. Why don't you want to stay there? So,
Right.
but everything doesn't mean material things.
Mhm.
So, I'm happy you asked if you don't feel safe. So, sometimes our children don't feel safe.
And
Yes.
there's a reason for that. I like the
Mhm.
fact that you mentioned, yes, you have everything at home, but you don't feel safe. One thing I often I often say to people rather, there's always a root cause. And as psychologists, we dig deep.
Mhm.
There's always a root cause. Social workers do it as well. If a
Mhm.
child does not feel safe in a given any given environment, there has to be a reason. So as we delve in, what is it that is happening around that child that causes that child to feel unsafe?
Very much
And
so.
we spoke about the sense of belonging. When we feel like we belong in any particular place, the workplace, the environment, church, community,
Mhm.
we thrive.
Very
It
much so.
helps our confidence. We thrive.
Yes.
So sometimes when the children are not doing well, it begs the question, do they feel a sense of belonging? What
Mhm.
is happening? And in a previous interview, we would have spoken about addressing what happened to you as opposed to what's wrong with
Wrong
you.
with you. Right. Very
Yes, so
much
the what
so.
happened helps you to find out the root causes, the underlying
Mhm.
causes of whatever it is that the child is experiencing.
I'm so happy that we're discussing that today because whilst you were speaking, it came to mind that sometimes you find persons would compare and would say, okay, look at this, not undermining anybody here, but they will tell you, look at this child who lives in a wooden house, 2 bedrooms. We're not discriminating again. I'm just using an example. And,
Right.
they barely have water, um, barely electricity, but this child is happy and this child is thriving. This child is doing well at school. What is your excuse? And you have everything. So this child in this house, the wooden house, may be comfortable.
Right.
And let's emphasize on what is the safety and what is the comfort that children look for. Yes.
This is really, I really like the trajectory of this, where this is going, because I'm going to refer to the example that you just used. A child may be in a two-bedroom house, wooden, and as you said, I mean,
We're
whatever
not
God has blessed you
discriminating,
with,
right?
praise the Lord.
Mhm.
And then you might see another child who is maybe in a bigger house with the cars and everything at their disposal, get rides to school, but that child is not doing so well. Now, again, going back to the theme, this is my place, where it represents a child feeling that they belong. And we also just spoke about looking at the underlying reasons. It's important to, again, go deep to realize what is missing. Because it's not just about having the food, clothing, and shelter, but there are other needs
Definitely.
of belonging. And
Mhm.
just to refer to Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Mhm.
where this psychologist, for those of you who may not be aware of it, proposed a pyramid. And at the bottom of the pyramid is where you'd find the need for food, clothing, and shelter. And then as you go up on that pyramid, there's a sense of belonging, esteem, needs. And yes, that basic level has been met. But what about feeling a sense of belonging? There are times children have everything that they need, and the thing that they need the most is lacking. For example, care, love, attention, time to just have a dialogue with their parents or their educators or their guardians, because in cases where the parents may not be, living with them. So these are some of the things that we have to be delving into. And as we look at this is my place represents, I feel like I belong there. When you feel like you belong someplace, again, you thrive, you feel
Most
confident.
definitely. And they need their space.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because um like for example, let me tell you, sometimes it's hard for me, but it is such a joy to hear my children say when they come home from a hard day of school, I couldn't wait to get home. And
Right.
this is what we need to create for our children. I cannot wait to get home. Rather than, you know what, when I leave school, um, let the bus go. I'll walk
Yes,
because
yes.
I don't want to reach home in a hurry. Okay, so we're creating that zone. And what I've noticed, being a mother of three, what I've noticed about children is that they love their parents' attention. Okay, you could be giving them all the material things you have, but if they do not have your
Right.
attention, it's like they have nothing. Because when I get home, like I've always used it and I'm always saying it, my bag is on my side. I'm just out of the vehicle, the door opens for me, and I'm being guided inside. My phone is taken away from me, placed down, and this is my time. Whether I've had a long day, whether I've had a short day, whatever it is,
Mhm.
this is my time. And my daughter would download. And I have to listen. Okay? Oh, she wants my undivided attention. This is her time. And it is very important to children, because if they do not have that, trust me, they will find the attention somewhere
Right,
else.
right,
Yes.
right. And I applaud you as a parent and as a social worker as well to recognize the need, even though, and I'm pretty sure that your workday is very tasking, usually very
Yes.
tasking, but affording your children that opportunity to offload. And as you mentioned, if you don't provide that safe space, that place, my place for the
Yes,
children, they will find it somewhere
they
else.
will.
They will find it somewhere
Yes.
else. And as we spoke about feelings earlier on, why does feeling like you belong matters to mental health, right?
If you don't feel like you belong, whether it be, again, we look at, if I'm not getting that belongingness, that sense of purpose, that sense of love at home, what do you see your children do? They go to gangs, and it's not because they
Right,
want to
right.
go to the wrong places or to create mischief. It's just that I want to know somebody likes me. I want to know somebody appreciates me. Somebody wants me there. Somebody will provide some form of safety. So belonging, that I want to feel loved. I want to feel
Right.
appreciated. And I want to know that at least I have some form of safety. That is my
Correct.
interpretation of
Correct.
belonging.
And you did a wonderful job. So let's delve a little into it again.
Yes.
Why feeling like you belong matters to mental health. Now, based on everything that we have spoken about previously, it helps them to become more confident, right? If they feel that they belong, this is my place,
Right.
my safe space. It's almost like I feel better. I feel more confident. And this is what children need. And of course, when they feel more confident,
Mhm.
they are able to accomplish a lot more. They go to school, and because they feel confident, they know, okay, this is a school that I want to pass for, if it's like primary school children, or whatever the task is, whatever the goal is, they feel that they can accomplish that, they can achieve it. They also are more likely to speak up, Renita.
Very
And
much
this
so.
is very important.
Mhm.
Too many of our children, because they do not feel safe, they do not speak up, and they suffer in silence.
Very much so. Very much so. And as you were speaking, again, I always reference my children because,
Mhm.
of course, this is who I work. This is who I try to model.
First-hand
Right.
experience.
So, um, my space, and like you rightfully said, it creates that level of confidence in them. And when a child can come to you to discuss anything, I mean, when we were growing up, could you ever go and tell your mother you like a boy? You could not, because boy, sometimes the slap you would get. You could not go and discuss that with your mother, but I encourage it. I allow my daughter to come, my children actually, because
Mhm.
my son is quieter. My daughter is more vocal. So I allow them to speak up. But what I do, I set my boundaries. If I
Right.
realize, of course, you are going over the boundaries, I will reel you back in because, of course, you must be
Mhm.
respectful.
Mhm.
So, one example of my space when you were speaking, and I was thinking that when you allow them to speak up, you build that confidence because in speaking, your child will come and tell you because they have a lot to deal with, and something that it builds on is resilience.
That is it.
And a lot of children now, they're not very resilient
Mhm.
because we parents like to. I'm not saying no that you don't defend your child, but sometimes we need to allow our children to do some more problem solving on their own. So, my child during this conversation comes to me and says, Mommy, I had a tough day today because somebody was trying to bully me. They told me I had short hair.
Mhm.
And this is an actual example.
Mhm.
They said I have short hair and my skin is so dark. I'm not like the others and I'm so tall and da, 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 da.
Mhm.
So they come out listing. You as a parent, you're listening. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, the reaction, the unhealthy reaction would be, who's that child? Give me the number. I'm going to call the school tomorrow. Instead, we speak to our child and see, okay, when this child told you that, what did you see?
How
How
did
did
you
you
feel?
respond? How
Mhm.
did you feel about
That's
it?
it.
What are you going to do about it?
Mhm.
And then you direct these responses.
Mhm.
Okay. And of course, make it positive. And another thing I do after this dialogue, I use my mirror and I
Mhm.
tell her, look into that mirror now and tell me what you see. What do you see? Tell me what you
Mhm.
see. Okay? And I guide that positivity.
Right.
So then when you go to school tomorrow, because of that dialogue, because of the safe space, okay, you are able to handle this situation at school. So somebody comes to you and call you short hair. Okay, it's my hair, I love it. As
Right.
opposed to I'm start getting angry and want to fight and
Mhm.
so on. So
Mhm.
it's very important. And I'm happy that, let me
Very
tell you,
much
I'm so
so.
happy we're having this conversation now.
Yes, but
Yes.
just to add to what you mentioned, I mean, asking your daughter how she felt, when we ask our children and the children that we work with, how did you feel or how do you feel about this? It helps to normalize that, okay, it's okay for me to feel what I'm
Mhm.
feeling. And it also gives you, as a parent and the adult, to assess how they interpreted that particular experience. Because for a child who is lacking self confidence, that
Mhm.
child could have felt a bit insecure.
Yo,
Now,
yes.
when you ask, how did you feel about that? And the child said, Mommy, well, I felt this way, or teacher, me, sir, I felt this way. It helps you to assess. And if the child said, okay, I really felt like I was ugly, it gives you the opportunity then to educate them, to provide the support, in fact, to provide the support and then educate and build. And you mentioned resilience, and all of these are very, very important because when children feel that their feelings matter, it really helps them to feel that they're not invisible. Because many times, and what irks me is that sometimes the children would say, I'm feeling this way. And as you said earlier on, why are you feeling that way? It makes a child feel invisible. You are entitled to an emotion.
Very much so.
And okay, I acknowledge that you're feeling this way. It's okay for you to feel that way. Let's talk a bit about it. Let's talk some more about it. And that child feels, again, going back to the theme, this is my place, my safe space. Oh, I can speak to me. So I can speak to sir. I can speak to my mommy or my daddy. It helps them feel that they belong.
Okay. Also, Miss, I am not sure if lower down, but I'm jumping in here that my space, my safe space, along with home, should be school.
Of course.
Definitely, because children
Yes,
spend
this is part of the
Yes.
discourse, but
yes,
let's
children
move
spend a
on.
lot of time at school, and they need to feel comfortable at school as well. They need to feel safe at the school as well. Because if we going to create it at home, and then when they go to school, something else, then
Yes,
of course.
you are correct. And earlier on, we spoke about the safe spaces and the safe place need to be at home, in the community, at school. And for the children, they spend a lot of time at school. So the school community needs to be safe and feel safe. And just, a word of, well, encouragement, caution to educators, ensuring that even the way they speak to the children, help ensure that it is nurturing. You can discipline a child. Um, you can still be firm, but still use positive communication.
Definitely.
So at school they need to feel safe because, as you mentioned, they may have all of the support at home, but then when they transition to school, they spend almost like close to eight hours
Yeah,
at
most
school.
of the
A
time.
lot of damage can be
Can be
done
done.
there. So our educators and even children, those of you who may be privy to this discussion, ensure that you create safe spaces for your peers as well. There are times the children experience the bullying, things that you say to each other. Not every child is able to stomach it,
Yes.
so use kind words. If you do not like it to be said to you, please refrain from saying it.
Very much so. Yes. Because sometimes, again, I will go back to home. That sometimes when a child is not basically taught how to treat others, or even they project what they are going through by the way they react. Because if I'm not feeling secure about myself and I'm angry because nobody wants to listen to me, I'll act out. I will lash out because that's the best way I know how to get the attention. So I am going to give that attention. I'm going to get it one way or the other. So,
And this is where we go back to normalizing emotions, ensuring that it's okay for me to feel whatever I'm feeling. When you go home, this is what you want to experience there when you go to the community. And the sad reality, though, is that it doesn't always happen, right?
yes,
And
true.
I'm moving away from it just a little bit in terms of the initial question and point, but sometimes you don't always find the consistency across the board. But
You
again,
don't.
if you build a foundation, if you teach the children, then when they transition to a space that is not safe, then whatever the resilience that we spoke about earlier on will help them to navigate these challenging, unsafe spaces.
Very much so. Yes,
Yeah.
because I've had experiences where it would sometimes even bring on being rude. A child would be said that you're being rude. But if a child is comfortable, basically what we use, basically comfortable in their own skin, they will
Right.
stand there very confident and they will tell you, I don't accept this. This is not right. I don't accept it. My mommy taught me differently. Or this is what it's supposed to be. And sometimes even persons in authority do not like this challenge and they see this child as coming of being rude. But this child has been taught what is safe, what is unsafe, what to tolerate and not to tolerate. So we adults now have to learn as
Yes,
well.
yes. I was smiling whilst you were saying that because it brought me right back to primary school where I was labeled rude once
Yes.
when I remember I was, of course, a bookworm. So there's a particular book
Yes.
that the school principal took from me. And when after school, I went politely, respectfully, and I requested my book back. She thought that was rude. Now,
Rude.
you know, right now, children are taught to be assertive, and
Yes.
sometimes adults mistake it for
Rudeness.
rudeness.
Mhm.
Now, even as I say that, I want to be very cautious because there are times children can be rude, but
Again,
we
we talk
have
about the
to.
boundaries.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. We
Mhm.
have to ensure that there's a clear
Mhm.
differentiation from, okay, you're being assertive, you're speaking your mind respectfully,
Mhm.
firmly, politely, and in a
Yes.
courteous manner, as opposed to being rude where you're just being disrespectful.
Oh, very much
So
so.
assertiveness is very good, but we have to ensure that it is done, of course, in the proper way.
As you say that, I'm giving an example of assertiveness, which was mistakenly mistaken for being rude. There was a situation where, of course, if you live with a social worker, you would learn about social work. My daughter is very big on confidentiality.
Nice.
She's very big on that. So there was a situation in her school once. So she saw this child crying and all, of course. She brought her out to the balcony
Mhm.
away from the others, spoke to
Nice.
her, found out what was happening. The child was crying and so on. So of course they brought the child to the teacher and so on. So other persons, it caught other person's attention. So they were coming to find out why she's crying. She's not answering. So they were questioning my daughter as to why is she crying. So my daughter said, I cannot tell you why she's crying. It is personal. And then this person says, um, somewhat in authority says, how you mean? I'm asking you what's wrong and you come in and tell me. And that's when I think eyes opened and nose opened. In her world of being assertive, I said to you, I cannot sit, I cannot tell you her situation because it's confidential. I cannot break her confidentiality. So this is what it is. So I was called.
Right.
Yes. But of course we have to, like I said, create show the boundaries, the clear cut boundaries that we don't border on being disrespectful. But
Yes.
again, others need to understand too. Yes.
Yes, and even with this example, just ensuring that the weight is said,
Right.
because I was looking at your nonverbal cues as you
Yes.
recounted the story, and I can understand how an
Why?
adult may
What came
think
out?
maybe it's a
Yeah.
little too much. Just tone it
Yes.
down.
Mhm.
Miss, I'm sorry, but she just mentioned something that is very personal, and I don't think I should be saying what it is. Perhaps when she feels a little better, or maybe you can give her a few more minutes and she will tell you what's wrong, as opposed to, yes,
Sorry,
but
I'm laughing because it is very hard to do. I am not making an excuse because
Mhm.
off the bat, I told her that the verbal cues and everything I
I'm
did
sure
it
you
years.
did. I'm sure
And
you
then
did.
and I explained, I apologized to the
Mhm.
person and said to her, this is what she was trying to tell you. I mean, away from the eyes and the nose and everything, the body language.
Right,
So
right.
then I said to her as well, if you come at a child, the child will come back at you
Mm-hmm.
because you too need to know how to speak. So if you're going to come at me and say to me, It's basically you're a child and I'm asking you a question and you're going to answer me like that. So you give me that kind of energy, I'm going to return it. And we have to be careful with that as well. Because like we're saying, we treat children like they have no emotions sometimes. Like you're a child, stay in your lane. But children do have emotions, and as you said earlier, I think they have more than us. Because once we have learned to harness our emotions and deal with it, they have not. So,
Yes,
yes.
and that's why, I mean, as we have these types of discussions, it's important for us to delve into these various areas. I always believe that there's always a right and wrong way to do particular things. And if you would permit me, just with what you mentioned as it relates to sometimes children, based on how somebody approaches them, they might, give up the same behavior. Now, whilst this is correct, it's not the best
It is
practice.
not.
And this is where you and I come in, where we teach them, okay, to be more respectful. And this is where we teach even the children and adults, of course, have to learn that to become more emotionally intelligent. I often say to my clients, you may be in a particular space and your whole world, the world around you, may be in chaos. It does not mean that you have to respond and react to it. You recognize in the moment, this is what I'm feeling. You normalize your emotions because your emotions are valid, but it
Very much
doesn't mean
so.
that every single thing that happens you have to respond to it. Yeah.
We have to, let me tell you, this point, this point is $1 million point because many people, I think we need to get a workshop done on how to do this, a continuous work,
Right.
because
right.
it's very difficult. It is very difficult, especially for adults. Because sometimes you would hear persons say, even I too, sometimes in certain situations, I would have to count backwards and say, okay, I must remind myself of who I am, and I cannot match this person's energy. I
That
cannot do
is
this. I
it.
will walk
That
away.
is it.
Yes.
Yes, and this is where when we normalize emotions, we teach people that, okay, yes, my feelings are not bad. You will feel angry, you'll feel frustrated, you'll feel sad, you'll feel happy. Feelings are not bad,
Not at
but
all.
when you experience an emotion, it affords you the opportunity to learn healthy ways of navigating and regulating your emotions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, when we talk about it, it makes us stronger.
Very much
I
so.
feel sad right now because of ABC. So you first of all, and part of processing your emotions is identifying what you're feeling in the moment.
Very
For
much so.
example, I feel sad right now. Why do you feel sad? You validate it. I feel sad because I just heard news that my dog Hunter died. God forbid. Right? Or my
Yes.
friend or somebody. You validating it. It's okay to feel sad because this thing has happened.
Yes.
And then you identify the triggers, what caused it, what caused you to feel the way that you're feeling. And all of these steps help you to process your emotions. And then you recognize, okay, because I'm feeling that way, I'm going to practice a grounding technique. I'm going to engage in a relaxation technique, or I'm going to self-soothe with the senses. This is really a technique that helps you to deal with a distressful emotion. So you may take a walk, you may engage in listening to something that helps you to calm yourself. And I spoke about the grounding technique, and it really is an exercise, a technique rather, that helps you to feel grounded in the moment. Many times when something has affected us, let's say this is the thing, this is a situation, it's often very hard to remove your focus from this thing that caught you
Right.
frustrated or whatever the emotion is. So the
Yes.
grounding technique forces you to remove your focus
Yes.
from that thing, because the more you see it, It's
I
like you
look
may,
at
yes,
yes.
the emotion gets more intense. So the grounding technique forces you to focus on your breathing whilst you look at, and a very simple one is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that engages your five senses. So you engage in your deep breathing exercise and you say, what are five things that I can see around me? Now, a while ago, we were focused on looking at each other,
Yes.
speaking. So
Mm,
I'm pretty sure if I had to just look around me, I would see things that I had not seen before. I would
yes.
hear things that I have not
I've
heard
heard
before
before.
this morning during the interview. So it forces you to take your attention off of the situation to the here and now. And it helps you as you do that, you begin to feel a little more relaxed to be able to move to the task at hand. And these are techniques, these are things that we can teach our children.
Okay. You were speaking, and I'm saying it would be a very interesting lesson for children at school, especially the secondary schools, where they learn different techniques on how to do problem solving, how to deal with conflicts. Because, yes, we teach them everything academics, but then when it comes to dealing with conflict, can they really manage it? How do we help them manage it? So I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, wow, in our HFLE class or one of our classes, how good it would be even to bring a resource person in to speak to the children, teach them the different techniques that they can use to deal with their emotions. So, yeah, because sometimes, like I said, you can do it at home because, yes, in your profession, you, the parent, you can do this and that, but the parents who do not know better,
Right.
okay, how do they help the child? So this child is coming to the school again, another safe space, need to help this child cope as well. Some children, of course, we have that stigma attached to counselors and social workers that, we like to know people business. They just want to know our business to go and talk about it out there. So, and what is sad, miss, many times I've said it and I keep saying it, what is sad that you will be at a certain place and a parent would come in and miss, you would be hearing that parent out there talking about their child and whatever the child went through to everybody who's ready to listen. And when this situation comes back to the parent, who is blamed? The counselor, the social worker. And it is really sad. So, parents, be very mindful what you say about your child out there. Because you know what people are saying? If you are the parent and you are saying such and such, who am I not to say differently? So, all that too is creating the safe space, because safe space is just not your home in your bedroom, but safe space is creating
Right.
overall
Right.
the environment.
Right.
Yes.
And just to add something, for you mentioned that these types of discussions should be um, maybe generated at the schools, but even as we speak, the Ministry of Health is actually engaging in presentations at the primary and secondary schools. And this is, of course, something that should be applauded. One of the
Very
things
much
that
so.
I see, and as much as I did not mention it, I'm from the EAP, the
Yes.
Employee Assistance Program within the Department of the Public Service. And one of the things that we do here is at the EAP is to engage all the stakeholders or the organizations and institutions that do similar work as ourselves to ensure that these types of things are strengthened, because we cannot do it all alone. And of course, as a Ministry of Health, there's that they also have some media cards that you should be looking out for. Ensure that you read the information and you know practice it, as we would have shared some of that with you. Ensure that you listen and practice, because knowledge without power is futile.
Very much so.
Knowledge is power, but when it is not
Not
applied,
used,
it
right.
is futile. So ensure that you apply. I'm realizing that our time is almost up, but if you permit me, just to,
Right,
for those of
yes.
you who are listening, how do we spoke about creating that my place, going back to the theme at home, at school, and the community. So just some quick points. At home, we spoke about listening. We spoke about speaking to your children. Um, we can also create safe routines. We can also affirm them. I
Mm-hmm.
am proud of you. I'm really happy that you did this.
Yes.
Wow, this is awesome. Now, it might be a seemingly minute thing, but your expression, the way you affirm your child, tells him that, oh my gosh, I did so well, mommy's so proud of me. So you create that safe space by affirming, listen without interrupting. At school, encourage kindness. Encourage kindness. Teachers, do not cast a blind eye. Encourage kindness. If you notice that a child is doing something that you're not supposed to do, I know sometimes you get tired. I
Mm-hmm.
know, but encourage kindness. Make sure no one sits alone. Sometimes in the class, there's a child who's always on their own. You
Yes.
call, Renita, do you mind going and sit over there? Or you don't even have to say it publicly,
Mm-hmm.
just to ensure that this child feels safe and feel
Yes.
that they
They're
that they
also
belong.
included,
And of
right?
course, in the just before we move on to the community, teaching emotional skills, we spoke about regulating your emotions, regulating yourself. We ensure that we teach the children these types of skills. And of course, the community. Let us create safe spaces. Let us be mentors for these children, because unfortunately, there are children who do not have parents, or even if they
True.
have parents, some of these parents are hooked on drugs and alcohol or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case may be. We can become a parent to a child who is, without, ensuring that we as adults, we show up consistently, not just when it feels convenient to do so. Let us show up consistently for these children.
Is just to make a point, I'm happy that you said that. Although right now it has become somewhat so difficult to assist, especially I will tell you what, in the community, where before it would be a community raises a child. It's
Mhm.
sadly but slowly moving. This is dying out because we know rights. So many people know their rights
Mhm.
that you're afraid to even tell somebody's child something. You're even afraid to approach somebody's child because you do not know how a parent is going to react, what a parent is going to
Right,
say.
right.
So I'm encouraging parents, and as you rightfully said, Miss, that sometimes it's not that persons don't want to reach out to the child, but out of fear, it's like self-preservation. I am
Right.
not going to interfere in that matter. Next thing I get myself into trouble. So
Mhm.
we parents, we need the help. We cannot do it alone. So we need to embrace the help. I'm not saying if somebody's doing something negative that you're going to take it. We know what's positive and what's negative. So, but if somebody is reaching out to your child, like a child, simple things as greeting, a child would pass and an adult would say, "Upakadi bonjour, upakadi morning." A parent misses so sad. Sometimes a parent would answer, "Idwo, esidwo bonjour."
Right,
So
right.
you now, this adult, tomorrow will see that child. I will not speak to you. I'm not. Hey, boundaries. So these are the kinds of things that persons deal with. So we need to bring back a community raises a child because, like you were saying, Miss, safe space is just not inside the house. Okay. Yes.
Right. And as we bring this to a close, we spoke about teaching the children that they need to, normalize expressing their emotions. We can also teach them some of the exercises, techniques like the deep breathing. I
Mm-hmm.
made mention of a few of them earlier, or naming the emotions, asking for help. Let's teach our children that it's okay to ask for help. But even as I say that, be very particular about who you ask for
I
help
was just
and where
thinking
you
that.
ask for help.
Right.
Yes, because not all help is good help. And
Right.
also encourage them to engage in positive self-talk. Again, going back to building the confidence. I can do this. I've got this covered. I know how to accomplish this because mommy has taught me. I have the skills, I have the knowledge. It's okay. And also encouraging them to feel and speak it forth into their lives. I belong. I am enough.
Very much so. But also, I'm happy you said about the speaking to somebody and being careful who you speak to. It's sad as well that we tell our children that, go to a trusted adult. And sometimes that same trusted adult will be the one to break this child's trust. So we need to empower our children
Yes.
to let them know. Again, we're talking about being assertive, that it doesn't matter whom. And I will tell my children that. I will tell them I don't care whom. It could be me. If you find that I'm out of place, I'm out of bounds.
Right.
I remembered once my hands, I swung my hand and I knocked my daughter's behind her buttocks, and she said, "You give me a bad touch." So I had to apologize. So this is how much, you have to teach your children that if I am out of hand, put me in check. So it does not matter whom, whether it's your father, your mother, whoever, you're out of place. You need to not take it on. Do not accept it. So we need to
Right.
teach our children that.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that she was able to tell you, "Mommy, you gave me a bad touch."
Yes.
Now that speaks about a fundamental thing. You taught her what a bad touch was. So she was able now to use that information to tell you that. And I'm pretty sure she told you that if somebody else does it to her, she would be able to say, I don't appreciate this. This is a bad touch. And then she can come to tell you as a parent so you can address it. Even as you spoke about the trusted adults, you can go as far as telling them because they may think Uncle Tom, Uncle Jim, Auntie
Yes.
Brenda are safe and trusted people. But you can tell them because you have done your research, you have done your due diligence, you can tell them, okay, these are the three names, or these are three names of trusted people: Auntie Brenda, Auntie Uncle Ulan, and whoever. You give them the names so they know, okay, these are the people, right?
Yes. I would still play the devil's advocate here. And I tell my children, it's not that I don't trust anybody, but I would still leave it up to them to tell them this is what it is. This, that. I make them look out for the signs.
Right.
Because sometimes in my mind, you are a trusted adult, but I don't know what you're doing behind my back.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I let them look out for the signs. This is not acceptable from anybody. This is acceptable, but this is not.
Right.
So when we give them the clear cut, let them make their own decisions. Because sometimes I may say, Auntie Sasha is trustworthy because in my eyes, Auntie Sasha is trustworthy.
Right.
And then Auntie Sasha is there doing the mischief.
Right.
And they're saying, but mommy said Auntie Sasha is trustworthy, so maybe I'm the one who's wrong. So they start questioning themselves and saying, okay, maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I'm the one who's wrong. So
I
yes.
actually like that, and it's good that you brought that up because I would have mentioned that you would, do your research, do your due diligence, as in knowing, okay, for sure. But as you said, sometimes we think because they would interact with the children differently. And some people can pretend very well. So
in my line of work, we have a lot of surprises. So this is why I'm saying what I'm saying.
yes, so we do it all around, so that
Yes.
in the end our children are safe.
Very
Yes,
much so.
so adults, ensure that you just know that your presence in nurturing that my place, my sense of belonging place for the children, know that your presence matters more than perfection. Listening to the children, that will help them to feel like they belong, whether it's at home, the community, the school. Listening,
And something which is
affirming.
very important as well, listening and affirming, is apologizing.
Oh yes.
Because sometimes adults do not know how to apologize to children. It's like monkey fell. Especially the parents. They will tell them monkey fell. I will not lower myself. It's not about
Right.
it's not about lowering yourself. And I believe firmly, I'm a firm believer in um leading by modeling behavior.
Right.
So
Correct.
a child will watch how you behave and then will follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not apologizing, do you expect that child to apologize?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to learn to apologize to our children. We are not always right. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in the moment, we're talking about a safe space. In the moment you come home, you've had a very long day. And let me tell you, it was stressful. And you come home, I mean, we are all humans. You're angry and you're frustrated. And then this child comes about whatever happened at school and whatever. And you think, wait. Enough. You blast this child because this is who came to you. Okay? The child goes out, whatever. Be that bigger person to go to the child and explain. Say, I'm really sorry. Okay, I'm really sorry. I did not mean this. This is what happened, and and the child would now understand, you know, and know that I should not accept that. Neither should I do it to somebody else. Yes.
Very correct.
Yes. So,
Yes.
yes. I see Miss Victorine. Mrs. Victorine is on the ball. Thank you, Mrs. Victorine. That this is a very brilliant program, Mrs. James, Miss Renita, awesome points. Yes. So she's saying that this information is coming to us at the right time and at no cost. Let's receive it and make the necessary applications. Good dialogue, good composure, brilliant, Mistress James. Okay,
Thank you
and
for
so many
that.
other comments. Yes. So thank you, Mrs. Victorine. I'm hoping that our listeners out there could go back to read your comments, take it into consideration, and listen to this program. Always a pleasure, always great dialogue, always great information. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. It has been wonderful. And as we end, every child deserves to be able to say that this is my place.
Very
I
much so.
belong. I feel loved. I feel listened to. So as we leave this with you, ensure, as we said, that you practice, you apply. It's okay to recognize when you don't have the information, but the information is being made available. So practice and become that safe space for our children.
Okay. And what I would like to say too is that I'm going to the schools right now. Teachers, okay? You act as guardians, you act as nurses and all. Yes, I understand that sometimes you would say that I'm doing a job, but your job entails creating that safe space because sometimes children come to you, they don't have that space, safe space at home. They don't have that love and care at home. They come into the school sometimes to look for it, and the school should be a safe space for our children. So please let us make that happen. Teachers, let us. I am not saying that you're not doing it. I'm just emphasizing that it should be a safe space. Okay? Let us all work together to create safe spaces for our children. They really do need it. Yes. So thank you so much. Till next time, persons who couldn't listen, if you're hearing about this program, you have watched this program, encourage your friends to listen to it. And of course, Ellen will be doing a rebroadcast. Yes. Thank you all. And thank you so much, Mrs. James.
Thank you
Great
for
dialogue.
having me. Thank you so much.
All right. Yes.